Hey my friends, we're back at it, and we're going to continue our conversations about properties of real numbers. All right, and we talked about multiplying positive and negative numbers last time. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to dividing positive and negative numbers. All right, and we're going to reuse some of the information that we learned last time and we developed last time. All right, so to help us with dividing our positive and negative numbers, all right, we're going to look at what division really is, and we're going to look at it a couple ways. So we're going to look at it as kind of dividing into groups, and that it's really kind of the opposite operation of multiplication, and to get a certain number. So let's look at it visually first. So let's look at this. All right, so this is 12 divided by 4. So this says I have positive 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, and this says I want to break it into, so division, I want to divide this into 4 groups, and we want those groups to be even. So I'm going to just go through and divide that into 4 equal groups like so. All right. So I have 3, 3, 3, and 3 in my groups. Now once again, what you can see here visually is all I have are blue items in each group. All right, so I want to divide that into 4 equal groups. All I have are 3 in each group, so my result is a positive 3. Now, another consequence of the division is that it's really asking you, all right, when I do 12 divided by 4, it's really asking you 4 times what number is 12. All right, so that's another way of looking at this. And so when we look at the result here, or we talked about 2 results last time to get a positive number. We said a positive times a positive is a positive number, and a negative times a negative is equal to a positive number. So when I look at it this way, I have a positive 4 here and a positive 12 here. So it looks like I'm in this relationship here, so this number has to also be positive. So you can think of it visually, all right, in here, all right, as we're going back and saying, okay, what kind of numbers do I have in my groups? Or I can look at it as a consequence of, okay, I'm really trying to figure out, all right, what number times my denominator here gives me the numerator. All right, so let's look at another example. All right, so once again, now notice the difference here. We're starting with negative 12 units. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 units. I'm still dividing those into 4 equal groups. So once again, let me go through and put a divider in here so I can divide this into my 4 groups. All right. Now what you can see is, unlike the last problem, all I have are negative numbers in each group. And how many of those do I have? I have a negative 3. All right. Now, once again, if we look at this as a consequence of multiplication, once again, negative 12 divided by 4 is really asking us, okay, 4 times what number is negative 12? Now, what we talked about last time is that there's 2 ways to get a negative number. I could do a positive number times a negative number, and that would be negative 12. And I could do a negative number times a positive number, and that would be a negative number, or in this case, negative 12. All right, so I didn't really want to put a negative 12 there, just a negative. All right, so when I look at this, I have a positive number, and my result is negative. So I have a positive number, my result is negative, which means what I'm multiplying must be a negative number. So it must be negative 3. So 2 nice visual ways to think about and understand really what division means, okay? This will also help us when we start solving equations if we really understand, all right, that division is the inverse operation, okay, the opposite operation to multiplication. All right? So now let's look at this. So what if that negative number is in the denominator, right? Okay, so I have positive 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I still need to divide them into, all right, 4 groups. All right, just like we've done in the prior problem, so let me do that. Okay, but I don't want to divide them into 4 groups. I want to divide them in the opposite of the 4 groups, okay? Which would mean that those would become, so now these now become negative numbers in each group. All right, so I didn't want to divide them into a regular group before, the opposite kind of numbers, and that seems a little Maybe. All right, conceptually to get to that, and then we get to -3. Now, so this is where thinking about multiplication and what it really is and how it relates to division really helps. So once again, 12 divided by -4 is really asking, okay, so -4 times what is positive 12? All right, so that's really what we're looking at. So now notice, we have a negative number here, but a positive result. Okay, so if we have a negative number here, all right, and we get to a positive result, the only way that can occur is if this is also a negative number based on what we had developed. So this does, in fact, have to be a -3. So a negative times a negative is a positive, and then 4 times 3 is 12. So while this may seem a little muddy, all right, conceptually, looking at it like this and understanding it's just asking us a multiplication question, it really allows us to go back and just reuse those multiplication rules. All right, and so in a very similar way, we can look at it in this regard. So I have -12 divided by -4. So this is really asking us, okay, -4 times what number, all right, is -12? Now, once again, my result is a negative. There are two ways to get a negative number. A negative times a positive. Well, that was not good at all. Let's do that again. A negative times a positive, or a positive times a negative. Either one of those would result in a negative number. All right, so we have a -4, so I have this part, so that means whatever I'm multiplying must be a positive number, so that would be a +3, which would be this guy. So what's nice about this is that because division, okay, is related to multiplication in the way that it is, our rules are going to be exactly the same when we divide our numbers out. So a positive times a positive is a positive number. A positive divided by a positive number is also a positive. All right. Our second rule is exactly the same. A positive times a negative, or a negative times a positive is a negative number. Therefore, when we divide a positive by a negative, or a negative divide positive, the result is also going to be a negative number. And then our third rule is also going to be the same as well. All right, that a negative times a negative is a positive, so therefore a negative divided by a negative is also a positive number. So once again, I've got 6 quick examples for you to do. So go ahead and pause the video, do these real quick, and then turn it back on and see how you did. All right, so once again, I would always work on sign first, fact second. So when I do these problems, I say, okay, positive divided by negative is a negative, and then 25 divided by 25 is 1. Okay, a positive divided by a positive is a positive. If you want to write a positive, that's more than appropriate, more than okay. And just know that when you look in a textbook or you see these answers or on a standardized test, they won't put the positive symbol in front of the number. They'll just say do 9 divided by 3 is 3. All right, but if you want to write a positive right now just for emphasis to make sure you're double checking those rules, please do so. All right, in our third example here, I've got a negative divided by negative, which is a positive number, and then 10 divided by 2 is 5. A negative divided by positive is a negative. 18 divided by 9 is 2. Okay, 24 divided by, or excuse me, a positive divided by negative is a negative, and then 24 divided by 6 is 4. A negative divided by negative is a positive. 8 divided by 4 is 2. All right, so there's your answers. All right, so once again, go ahead and continue through the self-assessment in the Google form. That means you are now ready for the lesson 2 homework. So check in with me if you have any questions.